Back by popular demand, this is the Turnbucklepad Podcast on YouTube.com. Respect wrestling or get out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Turnbucklepad Podcast. And today we got coming all the way from California, bringing us a little bit of that California love. Please welcome the Fallen Flower Kikyo.
Konnichiwa, how's everybody doing?
As far as we can tell, we're all doing pretty good. How's things on the West Coast about you?
Oh, finally. It took about 3 months outside of summer to actually start getting cold.
Wow. Now you're near the mountains, right?
I'm actually in Sacramento. I'm in the capital.
Oh, okay, so you're safe.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Boyfriend, though, he's up in the mountains, and I'm dreading kind of going up there this weekend because I don't know exactly how cold it's going to be.
That's how it is in Chicago. We never know what to believe when the news forecasters give us the weather. We have to do the opposite sometimes because it's always changing so rapidly.
No, thank you.
Well, we got a couple questions we'd like to ask you from a woman's perspective of it. Do you find it be easier to be a female wrestler now compared to the way it was, say, 20, 30 years ago?
Oh, you almost gave me a heart attack when you started asking that question. I thought you were just going to end it there. But, yeah, probably nowadays I'm sure it's a lot less violent on the women nowadays. We have a lot more females to wrestle, or at least we're starting to, especially in California. We've got 11 girls just in Northern California now, and that's ridiculous compared to what it was when I first started, and there were 2.
You started in 2009, right?
Yeah, I started training in 2009, and when I started training, the only women that were around was Christina Von Eerie and Kathy Summers.
So what was it like for you then compared to like the way it is now when you see some of these other girls who want in and that was you a couple years ago? What kind of goes through your mind when you see that?
I think the girls nowadays are a lot luckier when it comes to starting out because they have now all of these vets that, when I started it was Christina and Kathy and that was it. Now if someone comes in, they've got Christina, they've got Brittany Wonder, they've got me. Thunder Rosa's been around now to Japan and back, and they've got all of these different girls that they can come to and ask about. Now with cheerleader Melissa being back in the Northern California circuit, they've got her to look up to again. For those women, it's a lot better for them to come in now because now they can train with women. They don't have to train with men if they really don't want to, which they really should because that's how I got better with training with the guys. I was treated no different.
Did that give you like an edge over the other girls when it came to like the work portion of it?
In some aspects, I think so because there's so many more minds to work with. Just even if you're just training with them, you don't necessarily have to have matches with a guy to, learn something. Just training with them or even speaking with a vet who's a male, it gives you a different perspective and gives you different ideas to incorporate into your own work.
So would you say you were one of the students when you started that you literally soaked it all up? You listened to every single thing that was said around you and just processed it from there as opposed to, having the arrogance and the ego?
Oh, yeah, of course. That was always, it was on the rule sheet when I walked into the North American Wrestling Dojo, was, soak it up like a sponge and shut your mouth. Shutting my mouth was a little bit of a problem at the time, but, I learned eventually. So, you have to be able to soak and learn from everyone, whether that person is good or not. Even the bad advice or the bad ideas could spark something else that could turn into something great. And you have to be there to listen, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, do you see a big difference in the way wrestling training is now compared to the way it was like 2009 for yourself?
There's a lot more places to train nowadays up in Northern California.
Are they like
I
incredible trainers?
want to say something about their training, but I really don't want to say anything. It's just because I haven't been there to see what's been going on.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I know that situation. I hate getting caught in those too.
yeah, I'm not there, so I really don't have an opinion on the training sessions. You know, I'm just happy that there's more places to train.
Yeah, it seems like the women's division's getting like really stronger, and the men's. Not that I'm playing favorites, but it seems like the women's division's starting to take over. 'Cause you're seeing so much more badass stuff out of the women, and good stories, good wrestling matches, solid moves. And everything seems to be a lot hotter and a lot more interesting to watch now. And sometimes the guys' storylines aren't all that great.
Well, with people like Ronda Rousey and, of course, the divas on TV with Total Divas and, you know, the Divas Revolution and all that stuff has definitely brought more of a light to women's wrestling. But there's always been this little underground circuit of good women's wrestlers. And you're always used to, women's match, bathroom break, because it's going to suck.
Right.
But there's always those diamonds in the rough, people like Lufisto and, you know, Mickey Knuckles and people like that, and, you know, Cheyenne. They built what it is today. Like Sarah Del Rey, you know, she's training the divas now. That's why they're so much better. It's freaking Sarah Del Rey is whooping their asses and training them and getting them better. And it's amazing to see. Like, finally, it's not a bathroom break anymore. You want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. I recently noticed that with that match, Bayley and Alicia Fox, not Alicia Fox, who's the other? Sasha Banks. That match they had at NXT TakeOver about a couple months back. That was an amazing match.
Bayley.
Bayley.
Is from Northern California.
Yeah, geez, that's a hell of a worker right there. They put on a hell of a show.
Davina Rose from BTW, Big Time Wrestling in Newark, California. Yep, she's from NorCal.
Have you worked with her before?
Unfortunately, I did not get the chance to work with her. One of my fellow students, Savannah Riley, she got to work with her before she left, and so did Brittany Wonder.
Very nice. So you've been training people too, then?
No, like my fellow student. Like she was a student with me, not like me.
Oh, okay.
No, God no.
So what are being a female wrestler? I mean, what's like the worst horror story, the worst thing that can happen when you're on the road traveling? 'Cause I know girls carry a little bit more than men do. So I mean, what's like the worst possible scenario could happen?
I mean, you're a female.
Yeah.
Put two together, you know.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's obviously the worst. And I've heard stories, and I'm not going to repeat stories because that's just, you know, not even for people to even stoop that low is absolutely ridiculous. But.
Right. Well, I was thinking more along the line of losing luggage or something like that. Nothing horrific.
Yeah, a couple friends I've heard gotten like stuff stolen out of their trunks. Like they got their cars broken into and all their gear stolen. You know, obviously car troubles and stuff like that. And I lost, okay, here we go. So I went to Valley Springs to go pick up my boyfriend at the time here so that we could drive back and do a show later on that night. We almost got in a car accident, and I had my car impounded that same day and still was able to get to the show and wrestle. And I've been without a car since October of 2012.
Oh, wow.
Or 2013. Yeah, October 2013. But I'm still carless.
So you just like you don't really experience too much, but you're pretty much all right most of the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that's happened to me now is like I got stuck in Bakersfield for 5 hours because the Amtrak train broke down.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, and still had to go to school the next morning.
So because your character's so well known and you got one hell of a fan base going on, when you're like out in your daily life, is it harder for you to kayfabe or is it easier for you to kayfabe?
I've only been recognized once, and that was at the bank.
You only wrestled once?
That was it. No, I only got recognized once at a bank. Like, I went to the bank to go deposit my check from work, and the girl behind the desk is like, we started talking, and I mentioned I was a wrestler, and she's like, wait, you're a wrestler? Like, yeah. And she's all, oh my God, I saw you at the Concord Fair. She's like, you were with that girl, the black girl, and the other Mexican chick, right? I'm like, Yeah, that was me. She's like, oh my gosh, you're so awesome. I was like, oh, snap, cool. I got recognized somewhere, and not because I got hit by a car.
There you go. And
No,
now,
legit, I was at Walmart, and a lady was like, hey, aren't you that girl? And I was like, oh, snap, I'm getting recognized for wrestling. That got hit by that car, like, a couple weeks ago?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. That was me. I was on my bike, and I got hit by a car.
So who are some of your inspirations? Because when I see your character, I kind of see some characters that I want to guess might have been some inspiration just by the character you're doing. I want to say Bull Nakano. The really big bruisers, the battlers, the ones that can lay anybody out easily.
My inspirations, my face makeup, actually from Bull Nakano and Luna Vachon.
Okay, so I was
That's
close.
kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a small mixture of the two, because Luna had really, like, a lot of the veins, and Bull had more of, like, the straight lines that, like, made it look like her face was cracked, and then the makeup and whatnot.
I think Jerry Lawler
And then
called it a
style.
highway map one time.
I'm sorry?
Jerry Lawler called it a highway map one time.
Jerry Lawler is a very strange man. Style, like wrestling style wise, definitely like the old school Japanese women's wrestlers, Bull and Yamamoto, and Aja Kong and things of that, people of that sort. And then growing up, honestly, I wanted to be Jeff Hardy. I wanted to fly and do all that crazy stuff, but no, I'm too big to be doing all that stuff, so I'll just stick with my standing moonsault.
Well, there you go.
And my death matches.
So what do you think about the business today? Do you think it's not mysterious anymore? Doesn't hold that mystique like it once used to?
It does, but it doesn't. I still get asked a lot if it's fake, or if, like, oh, well, you already know who's going to win, right? And there's literally been times where the promoter's like, I don't care who wins. And we're sitting there like, oh, well, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, how, like, reality TV, everybody knows it's scripted, but it's only scripted to a point.
Right.
I like to call it physical improv.
That's a good way of putting it. That is a good way of
Yeah,
putting it.
you're given an end game, and it's up to you to find your way to that end game.
I like that. I might make that a catchphrase. So what things?
He gives that first. So, no.
I know in the South and like in other states. I mean, some states still believe in pro wrestling. And they still believe in kayfabe and things of that nature. And I know in Chicago, it's not so much that anymore because you can find out anything about anyone thanks to the internet.
Yeah, thanks to the internet, kayfabe is, utterly dead. I think most places in, like, the Midwest and the East Coast are really about, it being kayfabe and everything like that. I don't try to... I keep kayfabe to a point. Especially if I'm at someone else's show. If I've never worked for you before, I'm not going to be out there, like, during intermission, kissing hands and shaking babies.
Right.
Sorry, it's not going to work, But at some point, I am going to go out there and sell my merch. Maybe not particularly at intermission when everybody is all there, but I'm not going to go. Or if I do go out for intermission, I'm not going to go sit, put my stuff right next to my opponent or some other, good guy or whatever.
Right. Are you a heel most of the time or more of a face?
The only time that I'm faced is at certain companies, and they haven't ran in a few months, but they're starting to pick back up, I think, next year. But yeah, most of the time I'm like that stone cold heel now. Like, they hate me, but they love to hate me, and I'm cool.
So do you ever have that problem where if a fan's seeing you in one company and he comes to another company and he sees you again? Now, thankfully, you're not doing the same thing in both because that's a common annoyance to some of the fans, and that's how they lose interest in some of the workers. They're not really changing it up and being creative, trying on new things, And you got these fans who watch the whole point. What do you think about the situations like this?
If they're coming to see me, then they're coming to see me for a reason.
Right, but the character doesn't matter whether it's a heel or a face. I mean, if they already know where you're doing one place and doing another, and is it an annoyance? Is what I'm asking. Because I think you got to be diverse. But if the fans have that, you have that your select crowd follows you, so they know you in every company.
I I've never experienced this. The only time I'm a good guy, my name's changed.
Okay.
And it's a completely and utter different character.
All right.
When I'm Kikyo, I am Kikyo no matter what. Period. I'm not gonna, even if I am a good guy, I'm not gonna sit there and pander to the crowd and try and get them to clap along with me, but I'll try and get them behind me in a different way.
Right.
But I'm still gonna be, a good guy. I'm not gonna cheat, but I'm still gonna beat the whole crap out of you.
Wow. One of the many cool things you learned from training with the dudes, huh?
Pretty much, yeah. You toughen up real quick. Real quick. Especially when you have Bobby Hart as a trainer. You toughen up real quick.
I believe it. I actually really enjoy hearing stories about that. So I don't really see it.
He's the one who coined the term NorCal, get this fuck.
I gotta look into this more. Well, Kikyo, check it out. We have a question. And this is what we ask all our guests on the show. And I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this. What advice would you give to somebody that's new in the business or somebody that wants in the business?
Shut up, listen, soak everything up like a sponge. You're going to hurt, period. You're going to wake up the next day and you're going to hurt, and you're going to deal with it. If not, go buy a ticket. Don't complain, just take it, and if it's not for you, it's not for you, and nobody's going to, give you otherwise. Just man up, say, you know what, it's not for me, I'm cool. Then good on you, mate, but you're going to hurt every day for the rest of your life. Period.
What's like the worst injury you've sustained so far?
I've almost broken my ankle. I've dropped a corner post on my foot and broke my foot, and then wrestled the next day on it. I've almost dislocated my shoulder. I've broken my pinky. I think I've had at least one concussion, and I chipped my tooth on a clothesline.
How do you do that?
You know what? I really don't know. I think he clotheslined me in the mouth, and it chipped my tooth because I was in the corner. I think I bit down too hard, and then I actually chipped another tooth hitting a shoulder tackle because my face bounced against his shoulder and chipped my tooth.
Ouch. That's all I can say.
And also, and I got forearmed in the mouth, and my tooth went through my lip.
That's what makes you so awesome.
And then, of course, I've done death matches, so there's that.
I'd have to say, if I had to make just an idea or a comparison to the sort, I'd say you were the female's modern-day Mick Foley for doing things like that.
I don't know about maybe size-wise, but I mean, Sage does a lot more crap than I do. She was in Queen of Deathmatch, so.
Well, the tooth through the face or in the nose. I don't know.
I don't know. I took a code red into a pile of thumbtacks, broken glass, candy corn in my tooth.
Ow! And how many stitches do you need after all these?
I haven't had any. The only stitches I've ever had in my life have never come from wrestling.
Really?
Yep.
Isn't that something? You would think,
I'm really lucky. Really, really lucky.
Yeah, very. Well, Kikyo, we really thank you for calling us. And it's really been a privilege. We got someone from California calling in. We got a little bit, this is big for us. It really means a lot. It was really great to have the second lady now. So, Kikyo, if fans want to find you, how can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Fallen Flower Kikyo. You can find me on Twitter at Fallen Kikyo. You can find me on Facebook and friend request me, or you can like my page. And I think that's all that I'm on. I'm on Snapchat, Fallen Kikyo. If you guys want to follow my escapades and my weird roommates and whatnot and find out what's going on in my real life, you can follow me on that too. And wherever else, just YouTube. Yeah, that one too. I've got a YouTube, search Kikyo on there, and make sure it's not the Inuyasha cartoon. Make sure you put wrestling in there or something and you'll find it.
Cool. Well, thanks again for calling in, Kikyo. Fans, I'm your host, Mike Stover, and this has been my guest all the way from California, Fallen Flower Kikyo. Until then...
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Till then, fans, we're out.